Hello everyone and welcome to Valencia in Europe. It's my next league race, it's my third race with this league and you join me just at the end of my warm-up lap in qualifying. About to go for a flying lap, so going to rich mixture, get on the power as early as I can, DRS wide open. This is actually my first attempt, so no times have been set yet. This is my, not banker lap, but just trying to get a pretty solid lap in. I wouldn't call it a banker lap because it's a bit faster than that. So just finished the first corner then. Careful not to cut any corners. I was warned at the last race that perhaps I was corner cutting too much, so I've made sure I've sorted it for this one. I'm trying desperately not to cut any corners at all, particularly on qualifying. It's okay to occasionally cut them in the race, of course sometimes you can't help it. Qualifying it's pretty important not to, which also includes running out wide. So I need to keep all, well, at least two wheels inside these white lines either side of the track at all times. So DRS wide open then, coming down the end of this first very long straight in the rev limiter nice and early. Got the gearing set for the race, well, halfway between the race and qualifying really. So coming just into this next straight then, running it nicely wide but not too wide, again making sure at least two wheels always stay on the track. So coming to the end of the second straight then, we get my second sector time, a 1 minute 8.5. Ooh, I run a little bit wide there at the end of the straight. Braked a little bit too late, locked the rears, so it unsettled my car, got a bit of oversteer on corner entry, so wasn't great. Probably lost me about a tenth or two, but it's looking good so far. Very nearly cut the corner there, but didn't quite. So DRS wide open once again then. For the run, it was a 36.864. So not bad, that was my first attempt, and we join now on the rundown for my second attempt. 2 minutes left on the clock. I'm not sure for my second attempt actually, but certainly my final attempt. And this was the lap that got me my grid position. So coming through the first sector then, cutting it much closer to the line now in terms of corner cutting. Debatable whether I did cut corners on this or not, but both this lap and the previous lap would have both got me my grid position, so not too worried, as I do run a bit wide there. Would like to have bumped over the curb a little bit more than that with my inside wheel. Didn't quite happen though, so just over a tenth up though. So far, as to my previous lap, so it's looking good. My previous first sector wasn't exactly slow. It was the last sector that I lost a couple of tenths in. It was that 36.8 that you just saw a moment ago, so coming to the end of the first long straight once again then, braking hard down, careful not to lock the rears, so I'll completely mess my time up. Again, very close to cutting the corner, but I think I just about get away with it.
1 minute to go.
Able to get on the power nice and early there. I do get a bit of oversteer as I get a little bit keen with the DRS, but not too much, so it was a very good corner that last one. Coming to the end of the second straight then, actually lost about half a tenth there, so I'm still up though, 3/4 of a tenth up on my previous, as I nailed that hairpin there. Could have been actually a little bit better, but it's a lot better than last time anyway. So come on the high speed section then, just playing with the DRS, open shut, just trying to get it open as much as I can without risking it too much and risking having it to open at the wrong time and spinning around. So coming into the final corner then, nail the braking for the last corner, nail the throttle, DRS open all the way to the line. Let's see what it's going to be. It's a 36.550, so 3 tenths up my previous in the end then, so I was correct in saying that I lost about 2.5 tenths in on my first lap. So as you can see there, I did manage pole with that particular time. If you remember Onage from the last race, unfortunately he was disconnected at the beginning of the session, so he's not in it, but I've still got Ben for company. I did beat him by half a second there though to first position. So on to the race now, as we see a couple of shots of Valencia. Expected position is only second, but I'm starting on pole, so I skipped a little bit of time there. Was a few seconds waiting for players, so I skipped that. So we have a look at the strategy then. Looks like the tyres will be worn out by about lap 14-15, so I'm going to pit on lap 13 for a nice brand new set of the prime tyres. So having a quick look at a few cars on the grid then, and we now go to me. So it's Ferrari, Toro Rosso, Red Bull. So a bit of an interesting grid as the lights come on now. 5 lights. And they're out and we're away. So going straight to rich mixture then, trying to minimise wheel spin off the line. Going straight to rearward braking, which is what I've been using for this whole weekend so far. Using all of my curves then to try and keep Ben at bay, which I do manage, staying firmly in the middle of the track so no one gets any ideas out the middle. the inside, sorry. And Ben's right next to me there. Looks like he might be able to get me on the outside, but I've just managed to brake late enough, and I'm going to be nice and slow on the apexes, so he's got no chance of undercutting me. Oh, as he goes to the barrier there. Looks like he lost the rear end and slammed it into the barrier. He's okay though. He's carried on. Wasn't a fantastic corner by him though. As now I need to try and capitalise on that. Keep him over a second, so I can keep out of my DRS zone. So coming into the first long straight then. Still on rich mixture. I tend to go on rich mixture for the first lap or two to try and put a bit of a gap and then go to standard if I can thereafter. Didn't happen like that in Montreal though, as I was trying to catch ownage, so I believe I stayed on rich mixture for a little bit longer, which obviously it did work out because I did manage to pass him on track. So it's not by any means set that I'll be on rich for the first couple of laps and then go to standard. I change it depending on the situation. So coming to the end then of this second long straight, and 8/10, so Ben's actually managed to reduce the gap to me under a second once again, so I always find I'm a little bit slower than the pack for some reason on the first lap or two. Not too sure why, perhaps it's just because I'm not pushing hard enough, but it takes me a little while to get into my flow with the heavy fuel, as we're experiencing here. Coming to this very tricky last corner, very tricky braking for that corner. It's very easy to lock at wheels and overshoot and go very wide. So Ben's following me then, looks like it's about the same time. He's actually reduced it by about a 1/10, now 7/10 more or less behind me, so it's very close. So I need to try and pull out a gap on him, otherwise he's going to have DRS on me by the time we get to the third lap. So I have to make a few adjustments on the steering wheel there, you see me playing with the wheel rather. Ooh, so I run a little bit wide there. You want to be nice and tight to the barrier on that first apex. Didn't quite manage it, but didn't lose too much time though. So still indeed on rich mixture then. So understandably a purple first sector by 4 seconds, because obviously that standing start was on the last lap. So under half a second Ben is behind me now then. He's very, very close. Oh, as I get a bit of rear locking once again and run wide. Ben's right close behind me. Looks like he's not using his KERS though, as I've used a bit of KERS and managed to pull away from him. No DRS on this lap. That'll be next lap. He's getting massively on me though in the slipstream. Stay very much in the middle of the track to stop him getting ideas once again at the inside. So I'm not sure if he's on the inside of me, so I give him plenty of room anyway. Looks like he didn't need it. Must have either backed out or wasn't quite on the inside of me. So using the rest of my KERS then on this second long straight. So going to standard mix because he's the reason way behind me. Saving the fuel, don't need to use it just yet. So once again purple sector, 4.5 seconds up on the previous lap, but this is the first flying lap, so this is the one that really counts. At least with Ben we've got real gaps, rather in the last race we had ownage whose gaps are rather glitched, so we couldn't tell how far I was ahead or behind of him. But at least with Ben we're going to have consistent gaps, so we do know what the gaps are going to be. So what are they then? 8/10. So I've managed to pull it out a little bit more. 42.0 for me. Pretty good lap. Can do better as I get very close to cutting the corner there. It's very much on the limit. Fastest lap of the race. Then for that second flying lap, let's see if I can maintain that for the third lap. Looks like Ben might have fallen back from me actually a little bit there. Maybe not. Perhaps he's about to say much about 8/10. I'm going to say no, 6/10. So he's put enough a couple of tenths. Oh, there's a lot of rears once again and run a bit wide. That's put him right on my gearbox. He's going to be right behind me now, and he's going to get DRS this lap. So going straight to rich mixture then before I even get on the throttle. Using a lot of my KERS as he's staying fairly close behind me, and he's going to get DRS just about now. Using all of my KERS then, pardon me, using all of my KERS just to try and stay ahead of him. As he gets a lot of straight line speed but doesn't manage to get past me. Once again I sit slap bang in the middle of the track. And once again I have to give him room on the inside, but he doesn't take it. Looks like he's had a bit of oversteer there. He has indeed fallen back a little bit, but not too much. Oh, as I run wide there on the AstroTurf. Didn't want to be doing that, but didn't cost me too much time really. So going to standard mix once again, try and save a bit of fuel while I don't need it. So 6/10 down on previous lap. Oh, as he smashed me from behind there, smashed me behind. Caused me to correct my car and lose a lot of time, but he did wait for me. Fair play, he made the mistake. Outbraked himself and hit me, but he did let me back pass, so no worries about that. Looks like he has also lost a second or two to me then in doing that. So no complaints from me about that. So coming into this final corner once again then. Oh, as he gets another bit of oversteer. Looks like he might be struggling with the rear grip. Can't be his tyres going off already, surely. 1.5 he is back from me then. So we skip a couple of laps, onwards to lap 9. Very much of the same happened in the meantime. He lost a bit of time to me, pulled it back, got DRS once or twice. And very much the same story as those first couple of laps though. Never really was quite close enough to get a real overtake going on me. We skip now though to lap 9 as I mentioned, where he's closed right up on me once again. So well within that second that he needs, half a second behind me he is, so could he have the opportunity in the DRS zone coming onto this next straight. I need to nail the braking for this next corner. Not brilliant, I braked a little bit early, a little bit too overcautious. He's run a little bit wide, but don't think it's really cost him any time. Getting on the rich mixture as early as I can, and once again using all of my curves. I know he's going to get DRS and be very close behind me. Once again, not close enough really to pull a move. A lot of straight line speed advantage, but not really close enough to pull a move as I shut the door there. Not letting him through around the outside. He's not close enough anyway. So, as I run wide, right out on the AstroTurf once again for the second straight, no curves to defend with. He's very close behind me. Wonder if he's got any curves left. Looks like he might not have, he's not gaining too much on me. Sticking very much to the inside, not letting him have that inside line. So, braking, we're pretty much even, but I've got the inside line, so I take the position. Maintain the position rather. So, that was very close, but looks like he's got a massive bit of oversteer there. Another bit of oversteer, so his rear is not looking too stable in these first 10 laps. Looks like he's lost a lot of time to me for that. We'll see what the gap is when we cross the line. But it looks like he's lost a considerable amount of time, so come on to lap 10 then, 42.7 for me, and he did indeed lose quite a bit of time. So we advance then 2 laps, and he's still a reasonable way behind me. He hasn't managed to catch me after losing that bit of time, so nothing's happened in the last couple of laps really, apart from me driving around and Ben driving around. And like I said, he has gained around a second on me, but he's still 1.7 back, so coming to the end of the first sector then, we'll get the gap. Get a brand new gap. It looks like Son of Moore is 13 seconds behind Ben as well, so not too worried about him in terms of catching us, unless he really picks up the pace. So 1.6 back to Ben then, so he's not going to get DRS on this lap. And I'm a 10th up on my previous, so it's looking alright. So going to rich mixture then for this straight, just to give me a nice lot of straight line speed down this very, very long straight. As I tagged the wall a little bit there, lost concentration for a split second. So once again, cutting it very close to corner cutting, but not quite there. So coming into the second big long straight then, using the remainder of my curves. So just desperately trying to build the gap then, because as I said, I'm pitting on lap 13, so next lap is when I'll pit. So I need to try and maintain a bit of a gap to me, otherwise he will be able to overtake me in the pits. So 6/10 of my previous, so it's looking good so far. 1.8 back to him now, so I've actually pulled out a little bit of time on him. You can see now I'm starting to struggle with the rear end though. It's looking a little bit unstable. Looks like he might have lost a bit of time to me there actually. He looks a little bit further looking at the mini-map. So breaking down into this final corner once again then, as he dives into the pits. Ben's in the pits, so need to push very hard then for my end lap. So I'm coming into this lap anyway, so no need to change my strategy. Already on rich mixture, I believe, so maximum fuel mixture, sorry, maximum power. As I get loads of oversteer though, coming out the first corner. Massive oversteer, that's probably cost me half a second to a second, so that's not gone brilliantly well. 15 seconds back to Ben, that'll probably go up a bit as he exits the pits. So loads of oversteer then, so it looks like that might have cost me pretty much the gap that I had back to Ben, so I need to push very hard for the rest of this lap, but make sure I don't make any more mistakes like that. So half a second it cost me, that wasn't too bad actually. Thought it was going to be worse than that, but it's still half a second that I've given away to him. So let's see what the gap's going to be to Ben then, when he crosses the end of first sector line, which he does just about now. That was Son of Moore then coming in, so luckily he's come behind Son of Moore, so he's actually winded up being about 18 seconds back from me, so that's good, and looks like Son of Moore is between us, so if he finds any pace, Son of Moore is hopefully going to hold him up a little bit. It's always a good thing to have cars between you and the one you're fighting with, so looking pretty good so far this in-lap, apart from that little mistake after the first corner, but other than that, it's looking fairly solid. Not fantastically quick, as these tyres are pretty warm, but so a second down then on my previous lap, so lost that half a second in the first sector, lost another half a second in the middle sector with these tyres that do desperately need changing. So just watch my steering wheel through these high-speed sections then, constantly making little corrections on the rear end as it tries to step out me all the time. Not a lot of grip at all. So looks like I might have gained a bit of time. Pretty much stayed even really. So coming into the pits then. To get a bit of oversteer on pit entry there. Going straight to lean mixture. Don't want to waste any fuel in the pit lane while I'm sitting on the rev limiter. So going on to prime tyres then. 3 second dead. Not a bad pit stop at all by the Ferrari boys there. So looking on the mini-map then, looks like they're coming to the last corner now. It's going to be very close, I think, as it's very slow pit limiter on this track. So here they come then. Full speed then on the outside there. Son of Moore first, I believe. It is indeed, not Ben. So there's Son of Moore there beside me in the McLaren. So I managed to outbrake him into the first corner. I've outbraked him and got past him. That was important, because now if he holds Ben up, he's not going to be holding me up, because I'm already past him. So need to push hard now, and hope I can pull a bit of a gap on Ben, while my tyres are still warm, and his will be nice and warm now. Should have 100% heat in them. So Son of Moore there is very close to me. Need to go in the middle of the track and make sure he doesn't get any ideas. So, I was outbrake myself a little bit though with these cold tyres. So, breaking down them before this very long straight, I'm going to hold myself a little bit on the apex so that they can't undercut me, and then floor it as soon as I get just beyond the apex. So, I had already used half my curves in the pit lane trying to get past Son of Moore then. I've used the other half on this pit straight. They've both got DRS then. But luckily, once again, I hang it in the middle of the track. None of them were able to get past me. But it looks like Ben might have got past Son of Moore. I'm sure I'll look behind me in a second. Oh, as I run very wide there once again, right out on the AstroTurf. As indeed, Ben is past Son of Moore. He's right behind me. No curse to defend with. I am already on rich mixture. So it's going to be very close this one. He'll have all the warmer tyres. He can possibly brake later than me. Let's see how it plays out. As it looks like we brake pretty much at the same time. And I've got the inside line, so I'm going to take the line which is rightfully mine as I'm on the inside. So it's only a tenth as we cross the second sector line there. Ooh, Ben runs very wide there, right out on the AstroTurf. Cost him a bit of time in my dirty air. So breaking down then. Oh, as I get a big push from Ben. Big push there from Ben. Pushed me right out wide. Luckily he's waiting for me on penalty for that. As I'm going to now flip in retrospective mode. As it was a bit of a big event this one. So he pushed me there right out wide. I got a penalty for it. Saw red mist. Braked way too late. And unfortunately I went right out wide. That was completely my fault, I must admit. I'll tell you what happened in my head there. I got pushed by Ben for the second time in the race. Got very frustrated by that, and then got a penalty, which was the main thing that frustrated me, to be honest. That I got a penalty for it. And I'd completely forgotten that you could appeal penalties after the race in the league. So I just thought, well, that's pretty much it for my race. I'm not going to be able to pull a 10-second gap. Then I saw, course I saw Son of Moore alongside me. Got very frustrated and completely missed my braking point. So it was my fault. No one else to blame. I shouldn't have got frustrated with myself, or with the game really, for giving me a penalty for something that was completely not my fault. Braking just about to turn into the corner, and I got hit from behind, and I got a penalty. So, but there we go. It is what it is. As I'm now pushing very hard to try and gain the gap back to Ben. Not sure what the gap is while I was talking there. Didn't look, but we'll find out in just a moment what the gap is to Ben and what I need to do. Very frustrating there, but it was my mistake. Can't really blame Ben for that one. So 4.6, that's back to Son of Moore. So looks like he's probably got a couple of seconds on. Ben's probably got a couple of seconds on Son of Moore as well. So looks like it's about six and a half seconds, I would say, somewhere around there at the moment. So I need to push very hard in the closing stages of this race to try and reduce that gap. 14 laps left to go. Not including this one, as this one's pretty much over. So coming to the final corner then, tyres are pretty much only just getting up to temperature really. It's only the second lap on these tyres. So say lost half a second then on that last lap. See, and the lap before was on my pit lap, so not been a great couple of laps for me. So 3.3 seconds then to Son of Moore. I believe he's on a used set of the prime tyres. He's been on them since the start, so he's on very used tyres, so I shouldn't expect it to be too difficult to overtake with very low grip levels. But it's Ben I need to worry about. Looks like Ben's pulling out a similar amount on Son of Moore then. Purple first sector, so it's been a good first sector for me. It really shows that I'm pushing hard, that I've done fastest of anyone in the first sector. So coming then onto this long straight, looks like I'm not going to be able to get DRS on Tim on this lap at least. So I called him Tim there. Son of Moore, he's also called Tim. So Breaking down then, you can now clearly see the McLaren of Son of Moore there. So gaining quite a bit on him per lap, a couple of seconds per lap with his used tyres. So, ooh, out very wide once again. You see now I'm starting to push harder, making a few more mistakes. As I was not in cruise mode, but I wasn't pushing massively hard when I was defending to Ben. But now I'm annoyed. I'm pushing very hard now. Really want to get that gap down and try and overtake him before the end. I want to try and put some pressure on Ben, see if he can make a mistake if I'm putting pressure on him. So coming up now to Son of Moore. He's almost within touching distance now, possibly within a second when we cross the line. He runs a little bit wide there, not too wide though. So in his slipstream then, gaining a bit of straight line speed from being so close behind him. So it's a 40.8, and for me, fastest lap of the race. Very good lap there. I'm very, very close behind Son of Moore now then. Hoping to get DRS on him. Ooh, as I outbrake myself a little bit really, and didn't expect him to brake so early and wind up possibly just touching him. I don't think it really cost him any time though. He still managed to hit his apex. He touches the wall there, but didn't really affect him too much. Just completely underestimated how early he'd have to brake. So 4 tenths behind him then. I will get DRS on this lap. Ooh, as he cuts across there, didn't expect him to come back quite that much. As I've now got DRS, so cutting out behind him, but come back in for a sneaky bit of slipstream. DRS overtake, nice and easy. Now, so that's that overtaking mover. So now we'll get a real gap to Ben. Let's see how far I am. I reckon I was about 6.5 seconds after I first made my mistake. Let's see what it's going to be now. We'll get a sector time at the end of this long straight, as it's the end of the second sector. So just about now, 6.5 seconds it is still, so I haven't really, presuming I was correct in estimating it was 6.5 seconds, I haven't really gained any time on him. But need to push hard now. So half a second down on my fastest lap after that little collision with Tim there. Completely my fault. But there we go, that's cost me a bit of time. Also, I cut the corner a little bit there, didn't want to be doing that. So, coming then onto this final straight. This is a 41.4 as we, on lap 18, we skip a few laps. Coming into lap 28, so we skip 10 laps. Much of the same, nothing happened in those 10 laps apart from me pushing very hard. And gaining a bit of time on Ben. As you can see, I've gained just over 2 seconds on him. So I have, over the course of 10 laps, gained 2 seconds. That's an average of 2 tenths a lap. Not bad at all. Well, a driver who we know is very quick. So let's see then. I've got 2 laps left to go. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it, but I'm still going to push hard and try and force him into mistakes. So he's now 4 seconds, so it's a couple of tenths in that first sector alone. So I'm 100th up on my previous, so it's looking pretty good. So I now go to rich mixture. I did select rich mixture before, but for some reason it changed me to standard mix without me realising, so I do unfortunately waste a bit of fuel and with it a bit of time. But I think that happened to a lot of people. I don't think it was just me that for some reason was restricted to standard mix. So there we go. So still pushing very hard, as you can see. Just trying to get the gap down to Ben. I think it's very unlikely I'm going to catch him now, but as I said, I'm just pushing very hard, trying to make him watch the gaps, trying to make him make a mistake, as he hopefully pushes too hard. As I gain another half a second on him, half a second on my previous, and half a second quicker than him in that last sector. That was Rich Mitch that did that. All that time would have been gained on the straights, pretty much. Would have done pretty similar corners as I'd done on laps previous, but would have gained all the time on the straights. So breaking down to this final corner then, need to nail it. I have completely nailed the apex. Ooh, get a bit of oversteer on the exit. Wasn't too bad though. What's going to be? It is a 39.337 then, 6 tenths up my previous. Purple means it's the fastest lap of anyone so far. Very good time there, down to 3.7 to Ben, so he's lost almost a second to me in that last lap alone. So still going to push pretty hard on this last lap, trying to put some pressure on him. Hope that he ups his pace a little bit and makes a mistake and perhaps touches the barrier, loses a bit of front wing or spins it or something unlikely. But never give up until you cross the finish line. So still 3.7, looks like he must have picked up his pace in that first sector, as I've gone half a tenth up my previous, but it's not a purple sector, so Ben must have put in a very quick first sector. I suspect it's Ben that's probably taken that purple off me. Could be wrong, but it probably is. So Still pushing very hard then, trying to better my fastest lap, as I am half a tenth up, though, even if Ben's a bit more. I'm half a tenth up on my own, so not complaining too much. Oh, as I brake too late there, though, and run wide. That's cost me time. That's probably cost me almost half a second, I would say. Doesn't look like it, but it's very important to have a nice flow in the middle of those two straights. You've got to have a nice flow, take a nice lot of speed through those corners. So indeed, it's cost me about 3.5 tenths, and for all we know, I was up, so it's cost me at least 3.5 tenths. And looks like Ben's still pushing hard. Looks like he might be going for the fastest lap. Let's see if he can manage it. I'll be rather annoyed if he does manage the fastest lap as well as beating me in the race, as he is now my title contender, my main challenger for the title. So coming to the end of the lap then. I didn't manage a fast lap obviously, and he did. A 39.4, didn't beat me though fortunately. I had the fastest lap of the race with a 39.3, so I didn't need to finish second. As you can see there, that's the table as it stands. So Ben is now top of the championship by quite a way. 26 points, so it's more than the race win. And I'm still in 5th there with my second place finish on 68, so quite a way behind him now. I need to push, need to make sure I'm beating him consistently. There's still about 12 races left to go, so plenty of time left to close that gap down. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.